Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining me. Today, I am teaching lesson 4-3, graphing linear non-proportional relationships using slope and y-intercept. And so the essential question is, how can you graph a line using the slope and the y-intercept? Okay, let's watch the video.
Jeff is in the market for a new car. He wants something that's reliable and eco-friendly, so he's checking out a hybrid car that can run on electricity or gas. Jeff likes to go on road trips. He might not always be able to find somewhere to charge up the car, so he asks a salesman how far the car can travel on a tank of gas. But he doesn't get a straight answer. Instead, the car salesman tells him that the equation y equals negative 42x plus 380 represents the number of miles y you can still travel after using x gallons of gas. Whoa, this guy should have been a mathematician. Or is there something he's not telling Jeff? Can you use this equation and help Jeff to figure out if this is the right car for him? This lesson will show you how to use the slope and y-intercept to graph the relationship between the amount of gas used and the distance traveled.
So this reminds me of my husband just recently ordered something online, and he didn't want to read and he didn't want to measure and all that, and so he ordered a cover for his truck, and it came out and it didn't fit. It was too small, and he's like, I'm never gonna order anything. And two other people helped him. I trusted them and all that, and I'm like, you're just being lazy because you don't want to be reading everything that says in there, and there's no reason for you not to order anything. It's just you just have to read, okay? So for all of you, you just have to read and learn, okay? So don't give up that easily. Okay, so on
The slope-intercept form of the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. Let's use an equation written in this form to find the line that the equation represents. Suppose you know that the slope of a line is 2. Is that enough information to find a specific line on a graph? No, that isn't very helpful. There are lots of lines that have the slope of 2. Knowing only the slope of a line doesn't help find a point on a specific line. But what if you know the slope of a line is 2 and the y-intercept of the line is 3? There is only one line that passes through the y-intercept at 3 and has the slope of 2. So you can use the slope of a line and a single point on the line to find a line on a graph. Your turn. Look at the equation y equals 2/3 times x minus 1. The equation shows a y-intercept of -1 and a slope of 2/3. Let's use this information to draw the line on a graph represented by this equation. Step 1. Locate the y-intercept. The y-intercept is -1. Click the location on the graph of the y-intercept.
So once again, remember the y-intercept is the number that is by itself, and you go to the y-axis. This is the y. You go to the y-axis and you go to the -1. This is 0. Above are positive and below are negative. So it says -1. So it's right there, 1 down.
That's right. The y-intercept is located at 0 on the x-axis and -1 on the y-axis. Step 2. Use the slope to plot a second point on the graph of the line. The slope is rise over run, 2 over 3. To find a second point on the line, use the fact that rise equals 2 and count up 2 from the y-intercept. And then to the right 3 because run equals 3. Click the location on the graph representing the second point on the line.
So there's two ways that I know slope. One way is the slope is the ratio of the rise divided by the run. Another way is we say change in y over the change in x. So how much did the y change? So 2. You go up 2. 1, 2. And how much did the x change? 3. So you go to the right. 1, 2, 3. And you put the point right there.
That's right. What are the coordinates of the point found by using the slope and the y-intercept? Enter the x value for this point.
So I guess this point you have 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, maybe. Let me see. 3, check.
That's correct. The x value is 3. Enter the y value for this point.
The y value is 1. You rise 1, so right here this point is 3 to the right and 1 up.
That's correct. The y value is 1. Click to draw the line.
So now the line is going to go through there.
The line runs through points 0, -1, and 3, 1 on the graph.
Okay, any questions? Let me know.
Let's try it. Graph y equals -5/2 x plus 3. Step 1. Locate the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 3. The point on the graph of the y-intercept is 0, 3. Step 2. Use the slope to plot a second point on the graph of the line. Starting at the y-intercept, count up 5. And then move to the left 2, because the slope is negative. Click on the point -2, 8 on the graph.
So I kind of don't like that way. So I usually say, okay, the y-intercept is 3, so I go up 3, and then the rise over the run. Now the rise, it says -5, so instead of going up, I can also go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 2, 1, 2. And notice that even if I put the point right there, they're still going to line up in a straight line, and it's still going to go through that point right there, okay? So you could either go up and then to the left, or you can go down and then to the right if the slope is negative, okay?
Because the slope is negative, you could also find a point on the line by counting down 5 and then to the right 2. Click on the point 2, -2 on the graph. This is another point on the line.
So, okay, that's another way of doing it.
Click to draw the line. The line runs through points 0, 3, -2, 8, and 2, -2.
So there's your line. The y-intercept is at +3, rise 5, to the left 2, or go down 5 and to the right 2.
Have you ever tried to figure out how much exercise you would need to do to burn a certain number of calories? Let's take a look at this real-world situation. Ken has a weekly goal of burning 2,400 calories by taking brisk walks. Ken burns 300 calories each hour he walks. He wants to burn 2,400 calories. In the equation, y represents the number of calories Ken has left to burn out of his goal. X represents the hours he has walked. Let's graph the equation and then use the graph to solve a problem. First, write the slope as a ratio. Click to see two equivalent forms of the slope.
Okay, so remember that when the slope is not a fraction, you can always put a 1 under it, okay? And then once you have this fraction, you can multiply by 2 or by 3 to get more equivalent fractions, okay?
Using the slope as -900/3 will make the graph easy to draw. Step 1. Locate the y-intercept.
So the y-intercept is the number by itself, so it's 2,400. So I go to the y-axis. This is the y-axis. 2,400 will be right there.
That's right. The y-intercept is at 0, 2,400. Step 2. Now apply the slope to the y-intercept to locate a second point on the graph of the line of the equation. Start at the y-intercept and count down 900, stopping at 1,500. And then to the right 3.
You can
Click
also
on the point 3, 1,500.
you can also go from 400. You can go down 300 and then over 1. Okay, down 300 and then over 1. Down 300 and over 1. So you can do it whichever way works best for you.
That's right. Click to draw the line through the points. The line runs through the points 0, 2,400 and 3, 1,500. Look at the line that connects these 2 points on a graph. Let's use this graph to solve a problem. When will Ken still have 600 calories left to burn? Click the point on the line that intersects with 600 calories.
So looking at this graph, you start off with 2,400, and then you know that in 8 hours, there's going to be no more calories remaining. But at 600, if you want to get 600, you go to 600 on the y-axis, go across until it hits the line, then you go down to the 6, and that means it's going to take 6 hours, okay?
So, how many hours will it take Ken until he has 600 calories left to burn?
So we just said 6.
That's correct. It takes Ken 6 hours before he has 600 calories left to burn.
Any questions? Let me know, okay?
Now let's practice.
With the yellow whistle. So it says, why might someone choose to use the y-intercept and the slope to graph a line? Complete the statement, the explanation. You can easily identify the y-intercept. Oh no, M represents the slope. The slope M, and the y-intercept B for the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, the equation, and quickly use them to locate 2 points that determine the line, okay? Then go to the next one. Suppose you know the slope of a linear relationship and a point that its graph passes through. Can you graph the line even if the point provided does not represent the y-intercept? Complete the explanation. You can plot the point and use the slope to find a second point, then draw a line through the 2 points. Yes, because you plot the points, and then from that point, you can either rise or run or whatever you need to do, okay? So I think it's that one. Yay, submitted. Thank you so much for watching the video.